believe we should be good to stop here. Chžun Li? Oh no, what is he doing here?
Good sir, please, listen to me. Reel in your line and leave this place as quickly as you can. There are bandits in the area.
Bandits? Acting in broad daylight? Oh. Ah, I see. It appears many people are catching a chill as of late. If your throat is bothering you, Paimon, perhaps some tea and rest are in order.
Nope, no need. Paimon's fine. She just, had some cake stuck in her throat.
If there are indeed bandits in the area, then we should inform the Nëvilleta at once. Oh? Well, if that's the case. Such matters are best left to those with the necessary expertise, wouldn't you agree?
I suppose you're right. If ordinary people like us got involved, we would only cause more trouble.
Since we find ourselves otherwise unoccupied in this beautiful area, why don't we find a quiet place to relax while we wait for good news?
That would be lovely.
So, Uncle Ip does have a reason to be worried. After all, Gaming, the guard we mentioned, is his son.
Gaming. The name sounds somewhat familiar. Ah, yes. That is the name of the Wushu dancer who has been performing around Liyue Harbor recently, is it not?
Oh, have you seen him perform?
Indeed. I cannot help but admire his skill. He truly encapsulates the spirit of the Suani. Wushu dancing has become more well known in Liyue Harbor recently. However, although performers are seeing budding success, they have no doubt had to face many hurdles along the way. One's not so easily understood by spectators such as ourselves. If you ask me, what truly deserves admiration is perseverance in the face of adversity. That is a rare attribute indeed. I have heard many of my acquaintances praise Gaming for his kind, selfless, and courageous disposition. To have a child so accomplished and upright, you must be a very proud parent indeed, Uncle Ip.
Seems like Chžun Li has decided to skip the formalities.
Well, he's a hard worker. Yes.
You should be sure to tell him you think that when he gets back.
Your son is young yet. It's normal for someone his age to be a bit hot-headed. It's understandable to find talking about such things in person difficult. If there's a particular sentiment you wish to convey, perhaps we could pass it along for you.
No. It wouldn't be right to ask that of you. This thing between us has festered for many years now. In truth, there are some things that simply aren't easy for us to talk through. I've been in the tea business for most of my life, and I always hoped my child would do the same. Otherwise, how would he support himself? Over the past few years, I heard how well he was doing for himself as a guard. How his work was taking him to farther and farther off places. I also heard that he never gave up on Wushu dancing. It made me happy. But I was also worried. When you're young, you can handle all that physically taxing work and manual labor. What young person isn't capable of making a living that way? My concern is what happens when you get old. Every time I get to thinking like that, I cannot help but be reinforced in the belief that I was right. That I was right not to give in. I often regret introducing him to wushu dancing as a kid. If I had known how things would turn out, I would have never taken him to see those performances in the first place.
It is only natural for a parent to strive to send their child down the right path. No one would begrudge you that sentiment, Uncle Ip. You need not worry.
You seem quite young, Mr. Chžun Li. Yet you speak with such wisdom. Perhaps I have misjudged your age.
Your words are too kind. Truth be told, one of my old friends has several grown daughters. Rather than fretting about their future, however, she prefers to let them find their own way.
Then she's more easygoing than I could ever be. I fear I lack such an open mind. I meant to say earlier, there is no need to be so polite. Feel free to call me by my name, Ipdak.
Sure.
So, do you also think I fret too much, Mr. Chžun Li?
That's not exactly what I was hoping to convey. Only a fool would ask a parent not to worry about their child. But think of it this way. Raising a child is not unlike flying a kite. Hold the string too tight, and it can no longer soar. As my friend once said, if your children are aiming for the stars, clipping their wings will only cause them to come crashing down. You need to let out the line for a kite to soar.
It seems I was too stuck in my ways.
You need not reproach your heart for caring. You simply need to loosen your hold a little. Indeed, with such a big heart, why not allocate the time you usually spend worrying about gaming to the pursuit of other things, like going for a stroll, drinking tea, or taking in the scenery? You never know what surprises could be in store. Things can change in the blink of an eye.
The blink of an eye, you say? Do things change so quickly?
Children grow up in quite the same way, do they not? Day after day, year after year, sometimes in the blink of an eye, but always when you least expect it. As a father, I'm sure you know that best.
Yes, you can say that again. 1 second, Gaming was a kid. The next thing I knew, he was ready to fly the nest.
Chžun Li certainly has a way with words. Oh, Gaming is back! Hey, Gaming, we're over here!
Dad, Traveler, Paimon. Good, you're all here. Oh, and Mr. Chžun Li from the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor? You're here too?
A fated meeting indeed. We were just enjoying some pleasant conversation.
Is everything resolved?
Well, you could say that.
What does that mean?
Traveler, Paimon, come with me. I need to talk to you.
Huh? Oh, okay.
You are very knowledgeable, Mr. Chžun Li. I'm impressed. Despite my being in the tea industry for several decades, it seems I still have much to learn about the art of tea tasting.
You flatter me. It was nothing but a few humble musings.
How much tea have you drank since we've been gone?
Ipdak and I have found many a common interest. Our friendship, much like a cup of tea, seems to grow stronger the longer it has to steep.
Well said, Mr. Chžun Li. Gaming, Mr. Chžun Li is very knowledgeable. You should take the opportunity to learn from people like him when you're in the city.
Huh?
Ahem. Chžun Li?
I have very much enjoyed our conversation, Ipdak, but I Unfortunately, have some unfinished funeral parlor business to attend to.
Oh, I hope I didn't keep you. My apologies for taking up so much of your time, Mr. Chžun Li. No need to stay on my account. When you're less busy, let's find a time to meet. I'll treat you to dim sum.
It would be an honor.
We'll see you off, Zhang Li. Thanks for helping us talk things through with Uncle Ip. Good thing you were able to pick up on what we were putting down.
I have been around the both of you for some time now. You could say I have a certain level of expertise in that regard. As for my role in the conversation, think nothing of it. I hardly did anything noteworthy.
You never change, do you? Why did you have us walk all this way? Paimon thought we just had to go far enough to be out of earshot.
A friend approaches.
Hello.
Xiao, you're here too?
I've been here the whole time? A ghostly kite. Could that elusive Director Hu be coming to Wangshu Inn once again? What is she doing here? I suppose it matters not. Given her relationship with Rex, well, Zhang Li, I might as well go pay my respects. It's you. I thought you were Director Hu.
Ah, your arrival is most fortuitous. Do you want to try out this new gadget? The addition of the power source makes the takeoff more stable. It's just that...
He seems quite immersed in the study of this device.
I fear it's almost too stable. It completely negates the pleasure of seeing one's kite sway with the wind. It's a bit of a shame. In truth, I'm here because Director Hu dispatched me to purchase some items in preparation for Lantern Rite.
I see. Much like she does every year. Much like she'll do next year, I would imagine. Am I wrong? Or has she once again sent you out to buy, what is it, sesame oil or something?
While we're on the subject, I do wonder why she is so obsessed with using sesame oil in the preparation of mixed vegetable dishes for Lantern Rite. A recommendation from Xiangling, perhaps. What do you think, Xiao?
I've only met Director Hu a few times. I'm hardly the best person to ask.
Ah, and is that not a sign that you should visit Wangsheng Funeral Parlor more often? It wouldn't hurt to grace the parlor with your presence now and again. This one here is a traditional kite, one without any equipped mechanical device. Director Hu tasked me with studying the differences between the two to determine which one is of greater merit. Many hands make light work. Perhaps you could test out the other kite for me?
All right. I have made my comparisons. If speed is what you're after, the mechanical kite is the better choice.
Wonderful. I shall pass that information along to Director Hu. I'll leave these two kites with you. Perhaps you can find a few friends with which to partake in the activity. You might...
Oh, wait. Who enjoys kite flying?
Well, I would imagine someone of your talent and wisdom is more than capable of finding out.
So, you were testing out the kites for Hu Tao and even roped Xiao into doing it for you? Paimon didn't ask earlier because the situation was, awkward.
I would hardly say I roped Xiao into anything. I simply sought the help of a friend. Besides, we did the testing together.
Seems like our pool of competitors is growing. Do you like kite flying, Xiao?
I suppose I neither like nor dislike it. Although, watching a kite gradually ascend into the sky does bring me a certain peace of mind. Perhaps they're a bit like Xiao lanterns in that way.
Kite flying is also a pleasant form of relaxation.
Have you ever thought about making a kite, Xiao? Cloud Retainer taught us how. We can teach you if you want.
There's no need. Menogias was the only yaksha among us who had an interest in matters of ornamentation and design. When Lantern Rite is over, come find me near Pervasi's temple if you have the time.
It's getting late. I should go inform Director Hu of our findings.
How's she been, by the way? Be sure to say hi to her for us.
The last time I spoke to her, she mentioned that she would be visiting Chaoying Village in a few days. If you have the time, perhaps you could also make the trip. If you happen to run into her, you can pass along your regards in person.
We'll keep that in mind. Take care, Chžun Li. See you later.
See you next time.
Chaoying Village is known for its tea, but you know what else they have with tea? Didn't Gaming say something about dim sum being eaten in the morning? Oh, well that's fine too. Paimon doesn't care what kind of tea it is as long as it comes with some tasty snacks. Now let's see what kind of yummy things we can find around here. Paimon's not seeing things, is she? Is that Farina standing between Chžun Li and Hu Tao? Wonder what they're talking about. Chžun Li knows a lot of stuff. Maybe he's telling Farina about Chaoying Village. Oh, or maybe Hu Tao is trying to rope Farina into being one of her clients. Hey, this isn't the Fortress of Meropide. But Paimon could be convinced for the right price. Let's say loser buys the winner 3 huge bowls of seafood kanji. Since Chžun Li is there, Paimon bets things are pretty tame. It's decided then. Paimon votes for tour guide Chžun Li. Alright, no time to waste. Let's go see who's right. Good afternoon, Hu Tao, Chžun Li, and Farina! Oh, great. Now Paimon's shouting too.
Oh, well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? Seems
That we were able to meet you both without prior arrangement must mean that this is quite the serendipitous meeting indeed.
Huh? Oh, so both of you are acquainted with the Traveler and Paimon, then? Looks like someone's learned a thing or two from Chžun Li. I must admit, I am a bit surprised to see you here, Traveler. But seeing as you're a hero who's been all over Teyvat, it makes sense that you would be well-traveled and well-connected. Since we have found ourselves in each other's company within this fertile land, allow me to take this opportunity to wish you a happy Lantern Rite.
It appears you have been to Fontaine, then. Given your proclivity to spread good deeds wherever you go, it's no surprise that you would make the acquaintance of a celebrity as illustrious and celebrated as Miss Farina.
That's quite high praise. What I mean to say is, you flatter me, Mr. Chžun Li. Although I've built up a certain following within Fontaine, it is no reflection of strength or wisdom. I stand before you right now as nothing more than an ordinary traveler in search of beautiful scenery and creative inspiration. There is definitely more to Mr. Chžun Li than meets the eye. I could tell as much from our conversation earlier. Given his breadth of knowledge on both academic and worldly matters, there's no way he hasn't heard about what happened in Fontaine. Is he just feigning ignorance for my benefit?
No. You're no common tourist. I simply won't have you talk about yourself that way.
Huh? Does that mean Hu Tao also knows?
You may not have heard, friends, but...
Miss Hu Tao...
Miss Farina is now one of my esteemed clients.
Okay, you win. Guess Paimon will have to break into the hidden stash at the bottom of her shoe.
Huh? What's this about winning something?
Don't tell me. You two were placing bets on us.
Nuh-uh! We just saw you guys standing on the side of the road and couldn't help but take guesses as to what you were talking about.
Oh, I see. That means you, my friend, must have guessed that I was trying to promote my business to Miss Farina. That I do, my friend. What was Paimon's guess then?
Paimon thought Zhang Li was showing the newbie around.
By newbie, you mean me, right?
If that's the case, then Paimon's guess was also correct.
Oh, that's right. Mr. Zhang Li was telling me about some great sightseeing spots in the area.
Ha! You see? Paimon was right too! Since both of our guesses were right, there can't be a winner or a loser. Hey, don't be upset, Traveler. How about this? You buy Paimon a bowl and Paimon will also buy you a bowl. As for the third bowl...
Since I was the subject of the bet, perhaps it should go to me? You know, as a congratulations for the huge deal I just struck. I was just joking. Anyway, I should be the one treating you. The funeral parlor is about to bring in quite the sum after all.
Oh, Paimon almost forgot to ask about the most important question. Something happen recently, Farina?
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, you know, with you enlisting the services of Wangsheng Funeral Parlor and all.
Oh, well, yeah.
Really? Oh no, Paimon is so sorry for your loss. Although Paimon may have not known the person, please accept Paimon's deepest...
Whoa, it's not like that, Paimon.
Huh? But Paimon just thought, since you hired the services of a funeral parlor and all... Hey, it's not that big of a stretch.
Really, Paimon, it's not like you don't know me. Do I look like I know anyone who would ask me to coordinate their funeral? Miss Hu Tao is simply helping prepare some props for my film. Not too long ago, I read a collection of horror stories from Liyue. The content was spectacular. In fact, I still feel the need to sleep with the light on even now. Anyway, that's not the point. Now that Fontaine's biggest star has returned to the stage, I figured it's about time the industry enjoyed a breath of fresh air. Hey, that's pretty good. I'll have to remember that for my ad posters.
Oh, Paimon sees. That makes a lot of sense. So, did you come to Liyue just to enlist the services of Wangsheng Funeral Parlor?
Well, not exactly. My original plan was to just relax and enjoy the sights. But then I ran into Miss Hu Tao and Mr. Zhang Li, and well, you know the rest. I suppose it was meant to be.
It was a fated meeting indeed.
Zhong Li sure loves his lofty turns of phrase. But if you ask me, it's all thanks to that man who stopped to ask for directions.
Oh? Who was it?
It's someone you know. Wanna take a guess? What? How did you guess that on your first try?
Very impressive, my friend. Your guessing game is spot on today.
Huh. Paimon never thought Nëvilleta would be the type to get lost.
I'm sure he didn't get lost. Even I was able to find my way to this place without any trouble. He was already getting ready to leave by the time I arrived. He just wanted to ask someone about the quickest way to get back to Fontaine.
Yup, that's exactly what he asked. This area is full of mountains and rivers. It's normal to not know the fastest route.
So, were you the one that pointed him in the right direction, Hu Tao?
Of course. I'm also a guide of sorts, you know. So naturally, I also have a great sense of direction. But speaking of your friend...
What about him?
He doesn't get out much, does he? No wonder. He was stiff as a board and way too polite. I would have never guessed he was here on vacation if you hadn't told me.
All in all, he was only here for half a day. I'm pretty sure he is the only one who would consider that to be a vacation.
Oh? This gentleman you speak of must keep a demanding schedule.
I'm sure he does. You didn't see him, but he was dressed like he was about to attend some important meeting. It wasn't anything like what someone would wear on vacation.
Is that so?
Wait, you didn't see him, Zhong Li?
Unfortunately, no. At the time, it appeared as if Director Hu and Miss Farina were having quite the productive conversation. I know matters of business can take much discussion, so I decided to fetch some tea for them.
What a shame. That gentleman seemed like a sophisticated sort of guy. I actually think you two would have hit it off.
Is that so? To borrow Miss Farina's turn of phrase, perhaps it just wasn't meant to be.
Well, with the traveler around, I'm sure you'll have a chance to get to know each other at some point.
That's right. She's got more friends than she knows what to do with.
Well, that's certainly true. Oh, that reminds me. If you get the chance, you should try and talk to Nëvilleta into loosening up a bit. Just tell him the Palais Mermonia isn't going to fall apart if he disappears for a few days. He shouldn't keep himself cooped up all the time. Even clams open their shells to let in fresh water every once in a while, right? If he's really that much of a stickler for protocol, he can fill out a leave of absence request. He'd have to approve it himself since he handles that sort of thing now, but you know what I mean.
Seems like this gentleman is also in charge of something pretty important. Sounds like a pretty uptight sort of guy, all right. In my experience, a leader needs to be able to roll with the punches. That also includes knowing when and what to prioritize. It seems like your friend still has a lot of growing to do.
If I remember correctly, he's already several thousands of years old. You're quite right, Miss Hu Tao.
Oh? Traveler, Miss Farina, those two individuals over there appear to recognize you.
Oh, it's Navia and Clarand. Hey, over here!
We saw you all chatting over here, and we're wondering if we could join in.
Please, excuse the interruption.
Oh, so polite. No apologies necessary. Any friend of the Traveler and Miss Farina is a friend of mine.
Ah, straight to the point. I like it. It's getting late. If we want to catch a boat back before dark, we should probably get going.
Indeed. Then, Miss Farina,
Oh, yes?
when are you planning to head back? Do you need us to escort you?
Oh, I don't think that will be necessary. I mean, you're not my subordinate anymore. You don't need to look after me.
I didn't mean it that way. It's normal for friends to travel home together if they run into each other on the road.
There are a lot of mountainous roads in this area. I imagine they'll be even harder to navigate after dark.
Exactly. Just like in those ghost stories. 8 paths converge in a wood. Beside them an old house is stood. If you dare to go inside, not a soul will greet your eye. But if you take a closer look, there may be something you mistook. A candle flickers to and fro, yet there is no wind to make it so. What is its secret? What could it mean? In this wood, where mystery screams.
My dear demoiselles, ladies, no, I mean friends, please take me with you.
Of course.
Gotta say, Furina, you are really quite the character. By the way, did I hear you mention that Clorand used to work under you? Then you must have also been a leader at some point.
Well, that's, all in the past now. Besides, being a leader is hard. It wasn't the right job for me. I prefer how things are now. I can come and go as I please, and get to enjoy the sweet taste of freedom.
I see. Well, you've certainly picked an apt place to relax. Xiaoying Village is an exemplary choice.
Only the best. And I've learned a lot, too. Thank you so much, Miss Hu Tao and Mr. Chжун Li.
It's fine. You've thanked us more than enough already. The next time you're in this neck of the woods, I'll treat you to some dim sum in the city.
Dim sum. Is that some kind of Liyue term for snacks or desserts?
They are a part of it. It's basically a table full of as much tea, sweets, and good company as you can manage.
Oh, so it's basically a tea party. Sounds great.
Make sure to order the winter melon cake and the lotus flower crisp. They're so sweet and delicious, Paimon knows you'll love them.
Ooh, okay. I'll be looking forward to it then.
Wait, but didn't you guys say you were here on vacation? How come you're all going home empty-handed?
Of course I am. I bought tons of fun things to bring home with me. A kite, a parasol, a little tin frog that jumps. Oh, and a stuffed toy of a mythical beast. Clorand is the one who didn't buy anything for herself.
So all you're bringing back with you is that tea?
And some tea-flavored hard candies. They're for Sigewin.
Clorand isn't much of a shopaholic.
Well, one of us has to practice restraint.
Hey, I'm hardly reckless with my Mora. I'll have you know, all the purchases I made today were well within my budget.
Me? Oh, well, I bought some tea, of course. I just had to try all the varieties recommended in the Steambird. Other than that, just some bits and bobs, you know. A little bit of this, little bit of that. They should all be things I can use, I think.
Now Paimon's even more confused. If you bought that much stuff, where did it all go? Into one of Linny's magic packets?
Oh, actually...
Monsieur Nëvilleta took them with him.
Oh, so that's what happened. Wait, what? Why did he take them? He's not hoarding treasure, is he?
That's quite the imagination you've got there, Paimon. Monsieur Nëvilleta just saw the amount of bags we had and offered to take them back for us. I felt a bit bad at first, but, I really did have a lot of stuff.
He even offered to deliver my gifts to the Fortress of Meripede for me once he's done with the day's work. Nëvilleta is a man of his word. If he says he can do something, then he means it.
See, even Clorand was happy to take him up on his offer. If even his trusty subordinate agreed, then who was I to refuse?
Wow, he seems like a real gentleman. Maybe he's not as uptight as I thought. If only the funeral parlor had an employee as thoughtful, proactive, and responsible as him. Right, Zhang Li?
Indeed.
Cloran said Nëvilleta offered to deliver her gifts to Risley. So if we go to the entrance of the Fortress of Meripede, maybe we'll run into Nëvilleta. But we don't know exactly when he'll show up.
No, this is the life. Oh, that reminds me. A new year of work is about to begin. If there's anything you want to talk about, Zhang Li, you know you can come to me. I'm all...
Does the director have any concerns?
It just seemed like you were a bit preoccupied today, and much less talkative than usual. You barely said anything other than, "Is that so?" and "Indeed." If you ask me, I'd say you're having a midlife crisis. You're getting to be around that age after all.
Is that so?
Ugh.
I jest. Given its distance from the city, Chaoying Village enjoys a much slower pace of life. Surrounded by such peace and tranquility, I also seem to have developed a proclivity for inactivity. I apologize for making you worry.
I see. What do you think, Traveler? Is this atmosphere putting you in a lazy mood too? Wow, you are getting really good at these kinds of lines.
Indeed.
Look! It's Nëvilleta! We lucked out!
Oh, it's you. It has been some time since our last meeting. Few people frequent this location. Since I was able to conclude my work early for the day, I thought I might take a walk and avail myself of this area's peace and quiet.
You call this early? Do you always work this late, Nëvilleta?
Strictly speaking, that depends on the agenda for the day. I am hardly bereft of time, however, so working late is of little consequence to me.
Really? If you have so much time on your hands, then why did you only go to Chaoying Village for half a day?
First, I should clarify that I was referring to my lifespan, rather than the time at my disposal on any given day. Second, I was unaware you possessed knowledge of my trip to Chaoying Village. I see. Thank you for informing me. Yes, they have been safely delivered.
I have to hand it to Cloran. Just a simple gift delivery, and she has the great and mighty Udex at her beck and call.
I was just passing through. It was merely an act of convenience.
All right. Then I hereby confirm receipt of the goods on behalf of the staff of the Fortress of Meripede.
A verbal receipt of confirmation? Is such a formality really necessary for a small matter such as this?
Guess not. This quantity of tea, though, seems a little excessive for a gift, don't you think? Before you know it, they'll start accusing me of taking bribes.
About that. Much of that is my own excess, I'm afraid.
Oh? Why? What happened?
It was buy 10 boxes, get half off.
Ah, that explains it then. Well, go ahead and leave them to me. I'll get through this stash as fast as I can.
You have my thanks. Oh, there's something else I'd like to give to you.
This is a stone slate, engraved with a symbolic design.
While that is an apt description, it is in actuality a legal codex.
A legal codex, huh?
Before the advent of modern writing utensils, information was recorded on stone slabs such as this. The law was no different.
Okay.
Since ancient times, the scales of justice have symbolized the fairness and impartiality of judiciousness. As a tribute to that sentiment, this slate was designed after a traditional legal codex and engraved with a symbol instead of text. During my travels recently, I chanced upon a roadside stall offering tourists the opportunity to try their hand at the ceramic arts, so I decided to have a go. We joked with Clarence some time ago about gifting you a legal codex. So, here you go.
Ah, so that's what this is about.
I did not expect you to remember it as well. In any case, I hope this can be considered as a reasonable attempt to join in on the banter.
It is a very good attempt. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Even your sense of humor centers around the law. That's an impressive level of commitment. A gift of this significance deserves to be put on display, and I know just the place. Front and center in the fortress's showroom.
Surely there's no need for such a grand gesture.
Just kidding. I don't have anything like a showroom. But we do have a storage room. We can put it next to all the mechanical parts Sijouin has collected.
That sounds good to me.
So that's what you were doing in Chaoying Village.
Indeed. Of course, while I was there, I also took the opportunity to taste the local spring water. The aftertaste is much purer than what I have delivered to me in Fontaine. It stands to reason that the long-distance transport has a tendency to imbue the water with extraneous emotion. If you want to experience the true flavor, you simply have to go to the source. Perhaps I should organize some time off to do the same elsewhere. Then we are of the same mind. It appears my desire is justified.
If you say so, but you know you don't have to justify a vacation, right? You can after all, you're hardly bereft of time. You can do whatever you want.
You're quite right. I suppose I suffer not from a lack of opportunity, but rather a lack of inspiration. However, after reading a few articles about Liyue's holiday traditions, the idea popped into my head and made itself quite at home. Seeing as I was free of responsibilities for the morning, I decided to depart at once. Refreshing. My spontaneous outing seemed to inspire quite a few other spontaneous decisions as well. Take, for example, my foray into ceramics. At first, soil from the ground is granular and unforgiving, but add the right amount of water, and it becomes soft, moldable, and able to take shape. In the past, I never thought about how quotidian vessels were crafted, but now I have participated in their very making. This is also something I made today.
That's a ladle? Paimon thought it was supposed to be some long-necked sea creature.
That was indeed one of my inspirations. Really? You like it? To tell you the truth, given your unexpected arrival, I find myself quite unequipped to give you the welcome you deserve. Around such an important holiday such as this, human custom would dictate that gifts should be in order. But I'm afraid this is all I can offer, if you'll have it, that is. That is precisely why it would do me such a great honor if you accepted. You are most welcome. Happy Lantern Rite. Approve a leave of absence request for myself. That sounds like it could easily lead to a vicious cycle of self-indulgence, something which couldn't be in further violation of protocol. But I suppose I understand her point. My proclivity to refrain from personal outings does, in part, originate from a sense of responsibility toward my duties. But it is also due to a lack of desire to engage in the human world. But now I see that the human world is indeed full of many interesting places to discover. Lantern Rite marks the start of the new year in Liyue. In the spirit of the season, then, I wish you a year of success as vast and endless as the open ocean.
Traveler. Being in the city isn't the only way for me to appreciate the lights and beauty of Lantern Rite. Look, Liyue Harbor lies just beyond this mountain. As long as I stand at this vantage point, I may freely behold the sights of all the kites slowly ascending into the sky. For me, that is enough. I invited you here because there is something I would like to do. I want to release a shell lantern, and I'd like you to be there for it. Yes. I apologize for its crude appearance. I have little skill in that regard. You are very kind, as usual. All right. It's time. Traveler. Thank you.